If you're a dude spending an inordinate amount of time going to fucking clubs, don't fucking kid yourself what you're doing. It's not about the women, it's about the dudes. You got your boys next to you who are doing the same thing, and it's a fucking video game. Western culture is complicated dating for a lot of reasons, and there's way too much stuff going on. It's frustrating, and it sucks.
Men compulsively date not for the women, but for the approval of other men.
Yes. I used to say this, so when I was part of that, the pickup artist industry, I used to say this and people would get really upset. But it's just, to me, it was plainly true. The men, and I noticed this, and I noticed it in myself as well. If you actually really cared about feminine validation, you would just find a really nice girlfriend and stick with her, because the best way to consistently get feminine validation is to have a really healthy long-term relationship with a woman. If you're a dude who's like spending an inordinate amount of time, money, and energy going to fucking clubs, it is such an inefficient use of time and energy to get like a scrap of approval from a girl that you're probably never going to see again and don't give a shit about. So why are you doing that? Why are you putting in all this effort and energy? Well, it's because you got your boys next to you who are doing the same thing, and it's a fucking video game, and you want to see who's getting the high score this weekend.
And everyone's comparing.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
Yep.
It's funny, I went home and visited a couple like old friends I grew up with. And one of them, he's like got divorced a couple years ago, so he's single again. And I went home, and what was the first thing he did? Fucking pulled out his phone. He's like, dude, check out the chick I'm banging. Like, so like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it's cool. Like, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's fun to like hang out with your buddies and like be like, oh, dude, this chick was so hot. But like, don't fucking kid yourself what you're doing. Like, it's not about the women. It's about the dudes. Like, you're there. And this is the same thing with all the Tate shit. Like, all those guys, like, dude, you don't care about fucking Western culture. You're there because you got pushed into too many lockers, and like watching this dude and hanging out with your buddies who watch this dude makes you feel like more of a man.
Modern day dating advice. So if people are talking about hypergamy, it's adversarial, women deserve less. It's about dating Eastern European women, right? So what is your take on this?
Okay, first of all, the hypergamy thing is fucking dumb. All right. Like people, not women, people are attracted to status. It's just that status markers tend to be different in males and females, right? Like getting mad at women for being hypergamous is like getting mad at men for being attracted to, big boobs and skinny waists. Like, it's dumb. Stop fighting nature.
Well, let me share a story with you real quick.
Okay.
So on the Eastern European one, my buddy, my buddy's friend, he was like, he's like, I'm tired of dating American women. They're so entitled. I need an Eastern European woman. So he signs up for this language app. Yeah. And so this Russian girl starts teaching him. He starts teaching English. They end up meeting and they end up getting married.
Yeah. I have a bunch of thoughts around this. Like, it's one of those things where it's not that they're wrong. It's like the Big Lebowski. It's like, you're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole. Like, it's not necessarily wrong. It's just, I think they're taking the wrong conclusions away from it. Okay, first of all, let's take Western culture, right? Like, Western culture is complicated dating for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons is that women tend to be attracted to men who are more professionally successful than them. Statistically, right now, if you're under the age of 40 or 35-ish, anybody, like under the age of 35, the average woman is more successful than the average man. More women are graduating college, more women are getting entry-level jobs, women are moving up through the workforce quicker. There's obviously like nuances and caveats and stuff, like, but if you're a 25-year-old or whatever, then yeah, the average woman you meet is statistically going to be slightly more successful than you, and then that puts you at a disadvantage. And so you end up with this situation where it's like all the women want to date up professionally. There's only a few men at the top. And whenever you put men in a situation where they have a lot of options, they never settle or commit. Mm-hmm. And so you have this classic situation that's been written about many, many times of women are in this conundrum of, do you date the rich playboy or do you like marry the garbage man? Like there doesn't seem to be an in-between. And so that creates a lot of frustration for women. And there's probably a lot of commentary and discussion that can happen around, second order consequences of feminism. And I think anybody who tries to just as a blanket statement say it's good or bad is stupid. Like, you can have a very good thing in society and culture, which is women's empowerment, and you can have negative externalities and negative side effects of that, which, guess what? There are some negative externalities. So like, that doesn't make it bad, doesn't mean we should go back to 1950. It just means like life's fucking complicated.
There's always trade-offs.
Always trade-offs.
Yeah.
So that is a thing. And I get it. Like, if you're a guy who's like not in that top 10% or whatever, and you're not really getting a pick of the litter, and you're dealing with a lot of women who feel like they should be doing better than you, then yeah, it's frustrating and it sucks. What happens is these guys, let's say they go to Eastern Europe, they meet a girl there, she's super hot, super sweet, falls in love with them, they get married, whatever. What all these guys have deluded themselves into thinking, they've taken that experience and made it fit their like narrative that like, feminism is evil, Western culture is evil. They're like, oh, Eastern Europeans, they get it. They're traditional. The women are feminine, all this stuff. Look how happy we are. I've lived in these countries. I lived in South America. I've lived in Eastern Europe. I've dated women in both places. That's not why they're with you. They're with you because all the Russian men are fucking broke and treat them like shit. And so when you show up and you actually like listen to them and ask them for their opinion on something,
provide for them, all the things.
Don't come home wasted and beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
They're like, wow, this is the best guy I've ever met. And, whatever his shortcomings, I'm going to deal with it because holy shit, I'm never going to do better. So that's what they don't see on the other side of that. And instead, they only see their own narratives about Western culture. So yes, there is an arbitrage opportunity there. Like, there are a lot of very educated Eastern European women who are super smart, super sweet, very sexy. Same thing in South America. And if you are a just normal dude, an American, yeah, you can fucking find a 10 and do really well with them in some of these countries. But like, don't kid yourself. It's the same entitlement that these guys are upset about in the American women, right? It's like they go to Russia and they're like, oh, finally, these women see how amazing I am. They appreciate like
it's across the board,
my masculine enlightenment. And it's like, no, dude, it's like you're not a fucking drunk piece of shit like most of the guys she meets.
Yeah.
So like, don't pretend like you're not. Like you're something special. It's an arbitrage opportunity. And sure, take advantage of it. I married a Brazilian. Like, my wife's fucking amazing. As somebody who lived in South America, like, yeah, the quality of women you meet is fucking through the roof.